Welcome back to the shop. Today we are going to look at the Bigtreetech monitor, the K-Touch, and this is going to replace what I'm doing currently right now, which is my screen of the laptop. I split them in two, so we have the Soval SV08 on the right half, and we have the GD Plus 4 on the left half, and this is very hard to monitor. When you only have two printers, it's fine, but this thing is going to help me to free up my monitor so we can do everything on this. This is going to be the Bigtreetech K-Touch. First of all, let's see what's in the box. So this is what we get in the box. We have our manual and then we have our screen. This is the screen. The size is going to be 5 inches. And the first thing I see is that we have a cover right here on the back. This is magnetic. We have some pogo pins, the gold contacts, and this is because on the back we have our USB inputs. This is probably for charging purposes. Looking at the back, we have a switch for the off, the battery, and the 5-volt DC power, which is going to be your USB power. And then we have a jack right over here, and this looks to be for some kinds of a sensor. We can see we have a temperature symbol and we have the water or moisture symbol. Then lastly, there is a little black box. In that box we have a little baggie. I think there are 2 screws in there. We have a mounting bracket with some double-sided adhesive, a USB-C cable to USB-A, and we have our standard Allen key. So like you could see, there is not a lot in the box. Now we are going to look at how this system works. Then the manual. On one side it is going to be English, the other side is looking like Chinese. In the manual, I can see that this has a battery life of about half an hour or 30 minutes, which isn't a lot, unfortunately. So this doesn't look like it's going to hang on your wall without a USB cable. So right now it is more looking like, in case you want to move this screen around, you have about a half an hour to move it from one place to another. Then about the brackets, I am not sure what this bracket is doing. They are not telling me how to assemble this bracket. So alright, I have figured out how to mount this bracket. It is actually fairly easy. We have our back cover. We have some holes right over here, and the mounting plate also has 2 holes. These are threaded. These will go on the back like this. Then you will put in the screws, probably going to be this baggie, and then you can see it like this. There is some double adhesive tape, so you can mount it on some corner. To give you an example on the box, it is going to look something like this. So for me, the bracket isn't going to be very handy. What I want to do is make a bracket for this thing so I can set it next to me when I do my editing at home. I can see what my printers are doing. But first, let's do a power up and see what the screen is doing. It is now on battery power. We get a nice and hello screen. Now I'm going to plug in the USB just to be sure, so we get through the first steps of the screen, because it looks like we have some kind of a step-to-step tutorial. Right now it is asking to connect to the Wi-Fi. Okay, so we got an IP address, we are connected to the network. Then it is asking to connect the printers we have down below. We are going to press the plus button. I'm going to manually add a printer. I'm going to give in the IP address of one of my printers. And by the looks, we have our critical temperatures right over here. Then we have our printer selection. This is going to be the one we are using right now. Axis and temperatures. Here we can see the temperatures again. Here we can do our homing, retract, extrude, and all of that. Then we have, this is going to be apparently the back button. This is also a back button. Calibration, end stop status, PID tune, Z calibration offset. And then we have our settings, and it doesn't look like we have a webcam. So now looking at this thing, this is looking more and more that this is just going to be a replacement for the screens we can see on our printers. On the Plus 4, we have a nice colorful touchscreen, but for the printers like the SV08, we can see that we don't have a color screen. We have the old school Voron style ones with the dial knob, which is working perfectly fine in my opinion, but if you want to change it up, you can use this screen. Now, the biggest purpose is going to be if you run a print farm, the lack of a webcam interface, because I wanted to use this at a different location at my home so I can monitor from a distance. Well, right now, this is not the case. We are not able to monitor the webcam from remotely. So this is only going to be used to sit right here. We have a touchscreen which works perfectly fine. We can see that some naming isn't correct. But in my opinion, the stock situation with the Soval SV08 is perfectly fine, and I'm not intended to use it with this thing. So for me right now, this is not adding a lot of comfort to my print setup. I'm going to use it as it's intended, so I'm going to use this as an interface instead of using the rotary knob on the SV08, and I'm going to try very hard to only use the screen so I can use it for the purpose right now it is intended. Alright, has been a few weeks and I have some opinions, and you are not going to like it, because this thing is probably your next paperweight if you're going to invest it, because it's not what it needs to be. First of all, the battery, it works. You can see the device keeps running. There are no cables. This is the mounting system. This is made for printers like the Soval SV08 with the regular screen. But that is going to be the most positive thing I have to say about it. After unpacking it, it was very clear that the features on this thing are going to be very limited. Now there has been an update since then. We are now on version 1.1.0 and there has been a lot of functionality added to this thing. We now have the nice console overview. If you press on the temperatures, you now get a basic overview of all the temperatures of all the devices. You can preheat with PLA, you can do Z offset. They have added a lot of things. I still think this is not enough for you to consider it, except for the battery power. I really don't see a need for this device to exist. I think if you want to put a colorful touchscreen on your printer, it's going to be way more affordable than buying this thing right over here. Alright, I printed a lot of things just like these on the Soval SV08, and I don't think this is going to be something you can consider over the regular interface of the Soval. If you want a color screen, in my opinion, you are better off getting one of those USB screens and plug it in that way. Just the standard one that you can put on your Vorons or your Sovals or whatever it's called. BTT also has screens that are not connected to Wi-Fi, don't have batteries, and are a lot more affordable. So why the hell should you buy this thing? I have done a lot of thinking and I don't have a lot of good answers why this screen is going to revolutionize your printing, farming, whatever the hell you want to call it. It has a built-in battery. We have terminals to do some kind of moisture and temperature leveling. I have no clue how to use that. The interface, while it is clear to read, I really think it's not adding more value than just getting your regular screen. Now I think the biggest reason why they want you to buy the K-Touch is to eliminate buying multiple screens for multiple printers. If you have a complete farm, you will have to buy screens for every printer. And with this thing, you can just toggle through the printers and do it that way. Now, the problem is with the interface, it is not standardized. What I mean is with printers like the GD Plus 4, if I try to manually adjust things are not called properly. So I can see temperature settings that are called bed twice. One is the actual bed and one is the heated chamber temperature sensor. The naming scheme is already not correct in comparison with what we can see on the screen of the GD Plus 4. Now on the Soval SV08, it is fine. You can do all the things, and except for the basic things like selecting the file you want to print and homing all your axes, I don't see a real value on the K-Touch. The thing I miss the most about the K-Touch is the actual webcam interface. There is no webcam interface. You cannot see what your printer is doing. So in my opinion, this is nothing more than just your basic screen of your basic printer with a battery hookup and some Wi-Fi capabilities. Now, things I would like to see in the future are going to be webcam interfaces. I would really love it that I can print something and put this next to me on my desk like that, so I can see what my printer is doing. There is no webcam interface, so if you're going to use this thing in your house, not in your print farm, and you're going to push some buttons, things will happen and you will not see what there is going on. Now the console feature, really cool. Preheating, really cool. You have a PID feature, you can home all your accesses, but right now I don't think this is enough to replace your screens. And in my full opinion, I think that even the dial things we have on the Soval SV08 are more handy than this screen. Because if you want to do some gantry leveling, then on the screen it was not very clear what that means. I tried to push some buttons, then the whole thing started moving and it was doing a bad mesh calibration instead of doing the gantry leveling. So yeah, it is really basic at the moment. I can see that they are trying to do updates regularly. They are trying to take feedback from you, the community. There's a whole GitHub where you can push some requests for them to implement in this thing, but right now I don't really see the value. And the biggest reason why I don't see the value instead of just buying regular screens is these days I am very common to use my phone. I actually do everything on my phone, even monitor my printers because it has a webcam interface. It is all running on Fluid or on Mainsail for the Sovol SV08, and I'm going to show you what I mean with that. So if you open the browser and you type in the IP address, you get the webcam interface of the Sovol SV08, which is running Mainsail. Then you have your menu, you have your dashboard, you can do everything from this point of your menu. You can heat it up, you can look at the G-code files, you can do everything with a press of the button. Now the same is going to be for the GD Plus 4. Everything is in the menus, and I really like using Mainsail or a Fluid or whatever it's called. I just really like the interface. Everything is nice and local and it just works. It is named properly, it is using what it needs to use, and you can do what you want to do, which is not the case with this thing. Also, another thing I want to add is that the K-Touch Wi-Fi connection is terrible these days. After the update, I could see that the stability of the connection is all over the place. So even now it is very hard to connect it to my Wi-Fi. Now, enough rambling about the K-Touch. My solution is actually right over here. Now, this is one of my tablets. You can get them very affordable. This is a very expensive one, but nonetheless, these days tablets are very affordable. And right over here, we can see I'm running Fluid and I'm running Mainsail on the other screen. And the cool thing about that is that right now I have everything at my fingertips. I have my macros, I have my temperatures, and I can do it both at the same time. This is what I call usability of a screen. So the pricing right now in Europe is going to be 80.99, so 81 euros. And a tablet these days for 150 bucks, you get a nice big one. I can even make these things smaller or run multiple tabs with all the printers. So in my opinion, for 80 bucks, you're better off just buying your regular screens. Alright, so this was going to be the first product I ever tested about Bigtreetech. It is not going to be a positive one, unfortunately. I'm going to follow up on what's going to happen. I really hope they are going to do something about the interface. I hope they can add some webcam capabilities. But right now, trying to replace multiple printers on this little screen, I don't think is going to really happen, unfortunately. But I can be wrong. If I'm wrong, please put it down in the comments. Let me know why I'm wrong and what I am not doing right, because right now I don't see any value in this product. Alright, that's gonna be it. Maybe in the future we will do a follow-up about the K-Touch. Let me know down below what I did wrong. A big thank you to all the members and subscribers on the channel, and for $1 a month you can become a member too and support the work that we do. That's gonna be it, and I see you in the next one.